The Italian weightlifting team, is it drugs or is it an improved system?
They're the same picture.
No surprise to anybody who's been involved in the sport for at least a year that Italy's become a real dominant team, especially within Western Europe. At the Tokyo Olympics, we had Mirko Zanni placing third in the 67s. That was their first Olympic medal from an Italian weightlifter since 1984. Giorgio Bordignon then placed second in the 64s. Antonio Pizzolato took the bronze medal, almost took the gold medal in the 81s. And I totally understand this question that we get from people, and I've asked it myself as well. Why is it that when Nino hits 206 kilos in the 81s, we say that it's an improved system, and then when Carlos Nassar hits it, albeit as a 17-year-old Bulgarian, we say that he's obviously on drugs? Is there a difference? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Let's take a look at what the Italian Federation have actually done to ensure so much success over the past few years. So I've pulled up a pretty old article. It's sort of 3-4 months old. Came out halfway through the Olympic period on Inside the Games, and I'm going to use that as a little bit of a framework. But it's worth knowing that the once European weightlifting president, Antonio Urso, also is Italian and is currently the president of the Italian Weightlifting Federation. And over 10 years ago, he secured an enormous amount of funding for weightlifting. And he managed to secure that money from the National Olympic Committee. So that then brought in lots of athletes. They had a huge talent pool that then led to improved facilities, loads of coaches. I mean, if we go onto this website here, it's federpesistica.it. This is a look at everybody who's involved from a sort of administrative, coaching, organizational part of Italian Weightlifting Federation, and you can just see how many people they have involved. Even as we go all the way down, we start looking at here we are, the coaches. There are so many national coaches involved in creating this incredible team. When asked by media as to whether they did a Chinese style of programming, Bulgarian, Russian, Antonio Pizzolato, perhaps the top Italian weightlifter in the world, said, no, we do the Italian method. Quite what that is, I don't know, and to be honest, a lot of the writing in this Inside the Games is somewhat fluffy with regards to the answers that the Italians gave, but it is worth taking a look into. So I also said that the Italian system is training the athletes like humans rather than machines. Again, this doesn't mean a huge amount, except maybe the slightly more empathetic nature of this program over some others. So I guess in terms of the research and the technology, they were probably just running tests across a larger number of athletes, being able to then look back at that data when making better decisions for newer athletes. And then I think what was interesting then is that they were talking about the next most important thing is how can you improve the quality of life of this group of not only athletes but coaches also. So what they ended up doing was they invested a decent amount of money in having 2 sports psychologists who weren't there for the athletes. They were there actually for the coaches to help with the life and the happiness of the coaches. The idea being that the more fulfilled the coaches are, the more they're willing to put into developing the athletes. And then in turn, the more the athletes feel like they're getting this proper professional help from the coaches and the nutritionists and the psychologists and the medics and all of these sorts of things, the more they're then able to push and commit and believe in their own progress and drive. It also says, when you're in control of human problems and human difficulties, you can manage training better and better. The key was to improve the capacity of coaches to manage the human resource, manage the talents. For example, when family problems trouble some of the younger lifters, when they become a big weight in their life, the team will help them through this, said Urso. What I think was particularly interesting at the end, he said, our method might not be ideal perhaps in Asia, in Africa, but it is correct for the European culture. I think culture is an overlooked aspect of programming. I've spoken about this, I've written about this in the Glenn Penley method. I've learned this from many other coaches, that the political system in which the weightlifting system exists dictates to some degree what can be done within these ex-Soviet countries, where basically every single variable of an athlete's life is controlled. You're able to make much better predictions as to what the performance outcomes are going to be in 1 week, 1 month, a year, 4 years, which is why coaches in these more Soviet-esque countries are able to write programming years in advance, the athletes are much more like machines. As Urso says here, in, I guess, Western Europe, or as he's just generalizing with Europe, you can't quite do that. That's why you're seeing this almost revolution of auto-regulation. How do we take into account the stresses of the day, these different variables that we actually cannot control, and make sure that athletes are still able to take on the required amount of stress to cause the adaptation that the coach is actually looking for. And with that 275 kilo clean and jerk, Lashes finally total... Sorry, what's that? Okay, breaking news, we've got word coming in. Black Friday, 30% off selected items. What is that? 25th to the 29th of November. Wrist strap, thumb tape, weightlifting house belts, calendars, posters, books, clothing, even barbells. We have so many bars that we're currently using them as clothes racks. Up to 30% off across most items. Weightliftinghouse.com, November 25th to 29th. Back to the 500. So just looking very quickly at the athletes, we end up seeing, as you can see here, this is the, well, at the time 48, now 45 kilo Alessandra Pagliaro. The technique of these athletes has improved tremendously as they're in this system of greater athletes. The lockout, the back knee on that lift in particular, as you can see there with that still shot, is just absolutely sublime. Then we go over to Antonio Pizzolato. Here's a 180, incredibly light, and the guy moves incredibly well also. He does obviously have that dodgy shoulder, but you know, that's more of an injury thing than anything else. And what this leads to is lifts like this, 205 kilos in the clean and jerk, which causes people to start saying, well, is this person on drugs, or is he just involved in a system that is superior to the systems of our countries? And truth be told, I don't know. Oftentimes, the growth of systems, the improvements of systems within countries, then leads to a structure that does then facilitate drugs. And we see this, and it's normally that direction rather than the drugs causing the better system. And so the truth is, I don't know, and people are going to continue to ask these questions. But what I do know is the system that surrounds the Italian athlete is superior than the system that surrounds most other athletes. So here's Giulia Imperio, the 49 kilo lifter. She's the Italian snatch and total world record holder. And you can just see that she moves so incredibly well. In fact, one of the things that you notice about her is the active sort of scapular elevation, the incredible lockout when they're in the overhead position. It's the same with the snatch as well. So this is 85 kilos. This is actually, I'm pretty sure, equal to her Italian national record. One more time. Just the frosty of it, and then there, that lockout that she has is unbelievable. Let's take a look at something else. Let's take a look at some squats, because that's the other thing that I've noticed is that the leg strength in the Italians is unbelievable. We've seen Pizzolato doing 250. Here's the 49 kilo Giulia hitting a 120 front squat, and the dorsiflexion that she has is absolutely staggering. It's probably better than Akbar Dryev's, to be honest. Then there's the incredible moving Mirko Zanni, 67 kilo weightlifter. His 180, I mean, his record, I think, is less than that. His record is actually 177 in that 67 kilo, in that 73 kilo category, sorry, not 67. He moves so well. He snatched 148 in competition as a 73. He snatched, wait, what weight category is he? Sorry, my bad. He is a 67. He's done 148 at 67. He's done 150 at 73. And again, just moves so nicely. And you can see all of these athletes that we're talking about, all their training together. Then there's Georgia Bourdignon, who took silver at the Olympic Games. I filmed her many times. And again, incredibly aggressive, moves really nicely, moves the same every single lift. Here's a light and easy 122 prior to her competition in Pattaya, Thailand 2019. There's Sergio Maceda, who moves very nicely as a 61 kilo weightlifter. Here's 120. Everything is pretty perfect with these lifters. And then, of course, we have the freakiest of them all. We have Oscar Reyes Martinez, previously competed for Cuba. Now he's training with the Italian team. 73 kilo lifter, weighing sort of in the 77. Here's, I mean, this is where you get to see the power and speed of this guy. Just the rate of force development is absurd. 170 power clean and jerk, 160 hang snatch double. I mean, this is 9 kilos under Shi Xiong's world record. Just doubling it, and to be honest, not far off power snatching it either. And so what's exciting is we have all of these athletes, we have this system, we are seeing the fruits of the system, we're not seeing the roots of it. The roots were established many years ago. We're seeing the benefits of the system. And in the pipeline, we end up having younger athletes. For example, we've got Celine D'Elia, she's a 49 kilo weightlifter, and when you watch her lift, you can see just the technique that she has. Everything is focused on moving well, the way she pauses in the bottom position, the lockout is very similar to Giulia Imperio's. And just like I mentioned with Giulia and with other weightlifters in Italy, their leg strength is absolutely ridiculous. Here's 140 kilos for, I guess that's a single, just looped really well to make it look like she's just wrapping it out. But, you know, this isn't too far off 3 times body weight. Okay, let's watch a clean and jerk. This is 85 kilos. And she's a youth lifter, and she's already moving that well. So there's plenty of athletes sort of in the pipeline, I guess, coming through. Then there's Tina Angelini. She's a 45 kilo weightlifter, I think. 49 it says there. And again, a strong squat, 120 kilos. And she also moves incredibly well, as we can see with this 65 kilo snatch. And so I think what you can make from this when you look at all of these athletes and the progress that Italy is seeing is, whether or not you think there's something else going on behind the scenes, we can see that an improved system, funding that comes in, coaching, an emphasis on a system that supports not only the athletes but the coaches too, can create much better athletes, much healthier, happier athletes who have more going on in their lives, both inside and outside of the gym, as they strive to in the Italian Federation. I think the next quad is going to be particularly exciting for Team Italy. I think they're certainly going to continue dominating Western Europe, and they're going to start pushing and rivaling some of the stronger Eastern European countries like Georgia, mainly just Georgia, I guess Armenia as well, to be honest. And this might be the year, I think, where we see Antonio Pizzolato take that gold medal at the World Championships. He's not going up against Liu, he is going up against Li Dayin. I think he can do it. Anyway, I'd love to know your thoughts on what's going on with Team Italy. Stick a comment down below.